I'm Harry, and welcome back to Drum Electric. So the goal of this video is to actually be able to use one of these, a Footswitch, with both the SPD-SX to just change like a patch, trigger a click, all that sort of stuff, or even better, so when we hit this, we get a backing track to start playing. It's super easy to do, and it's actually really easy to connect all together. So let's get into it. Let's make a Footswitch do all of the things we want it to do. So on the back of the SPD-SX, there's actually a little input that says Footswitch, and that's where the Footswitch plugs into. But with that input, it also sends MIDI. So essentially it's kind of like an extra trigger input, which is probably the simplest way to think about it. So with this, I'm going to split this video into two parts. The first part is going to look at using the Footswitch with the SPD-SX itself. Then the second part is actually going to be connecting it to Ableton, where I've just built a really simple backing track rig, and we're going to use the Footswitch to hit play. So when it's on the floor next to a bass drum pedal, for example, we can just move our foot across, tap that thing, and then the backing track will play. It's really, really cool. So part one, with the SPD-SX, the Footswitch I'm using is the Boss FS5U. Now, here's a fun fact for you, is that Boss is actually a part of Roland, it makes everything just a little bit easier. I've got the single Footswitch, as you can see, but they also sell the dual one, which you can use with the SPD-SX. And if you wanted to buy two of these and split them, then you can do that too, because it has a dual Footswitch input. And then to connect it to the SPD-SX, it's just a simple jack lead like this. This is actually a stereo one, which you don't really need, but there you go. It's just a right angle jack to just a jack. You can use any old jack cable. It's not that special, sadly. So what I'm going to do is plug the right angle into the Footswitch, because that means when it's next to the bass drum pedal, this cable can really easily, I'm going to do it that way around, this cable can really easily just move out the way. The other quick tip is the back is really slippery, so I'd highly recommend putting some Velcro on that so then it sticks to your drum mat. Just make sure to check which side of the sticky Velcro will stick to your drum mat first. Now, I'm not speaking from experience. And then this side, I'm just going to plug into the back of the SPD-SX where it said Footswitch. Once that's all plugged in, to actually set it up is really, really easy. So all you're going to do is go to Menu, down to I think it's for System. I would presume it's for System. And then you're just going to go down to Pad/Fush Control. I think I'm nailing these pronunciations. Once you're in there, that's where you're going to have control over what every single pad on the SPD-SX can do, and that includes triggers and things like that. So using the up and down arrows, you can go up and down, go all 9 pads, all 4 triggers, and both Footswitches. In this case, we're actually using one Footswitch, which is just FS1, Footswitch 1. So using the plus and minus buttons, you can go forward with the plus button just to see all of the options that you can use, and then back to then obviously go forward and back. So I'm just going to put this onto Kit Inc, which means Kit Increase. So when I hit the Footswitch, and then it moves it across to the next patch, and that'll just keep going. So obviously if you had 2, then you could have the second one being Kit Deck, so then when you hit the Footswitch, it goes back some patches. So have a play around with it, see what you can do, because it's one of those things where I didn't really think about a Footswitch, and then I used it, and I'm actually like, this is really quite helpful. So part 2, using this with Ableton. Now what you want to do just before this is make sure everything that we've just done, so using this to move like the patches forward and back, you want to make sure that option is off, because otherwise when you hit this, the SPD might change, trigger a click, something like that, as well as hit play on the backing track, and then you'll just have this wild concoction of sounds happening at the same time. It's just not worth it. Once you've plugged all of this in, you actually then want to change the MIDI settings on it. So to do that, you're going to hit Menu, you're just going to go up to Kit, and then MIDI, using the bottom 3 buttons. Now to actually select this, you can just press it, the light will light up on Footswitch, and then it'll say FS1, FS1, and that's where you can change it. If you can't find those options, you can use the arrow keys just to go forward and back, especially if you have multiple triggers when doing this. So for the pad channel, I'm going to use a plus button to change it to channel 1, rather than global, so that's now specifically a channel of MIDI, rather than every single MIDI channel. So if you have multiple things firing off MIDI, and something else is on the same channel as this, then you might have some interesting things happen there. I'm going to go down to MIDI note number, so this is the actual specific thing that this is sending. And again, for this demo, I'm just going to use the plus button to go to number 1. But again, if you're using lots of MIDI things, make sure you change this so it doesn't clash with anything. And for now, that's all we need to do. So I'm just going to hit the Kit button, and now we're going to head into Ableton. So as you can see here, there's a very simple backing track. If you'd like to see how I created a backing track like this, you can check out the video just up there and I'll show you how to set up all of the click tracks and all of the vocal cues and that sort of fun stuff. But for now, let's make this control this. So make sure the MIDI settings are the right thing by going into preferences, down to MIDI here, and I've got lots on here, so I apologise. But just make sure the SPD-SX, SPD-SX MIDI, or in and out is ticked track and remote, then you should be fine. If that option isn't there, then you'll need to download the MIDI driver from the Roland website. It's free, it's really easy to do, and again, you can check up the video just up there on how to do that. So once that's there, you actually want to check up in the top right-hand corner of Ableton. There's a little square that will light up orange when you press this when you get a MIDI signal. So we are, and that's really, really good. So with that, then we just want to hit the MIDI button, click on the play button, simplest thing, hit the trigger, it's recorded a MIDI note, hit the MIDI, and now the foot switch is on the floor, the band are ready to go. It's time to trigger the backing track. Rather than hitting the pad, making it really obvious, just move your foot across.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Simple as that. Now, what would be ideal is obviously if you have another pedal and then you trigger that to stop. But that's the premise. Now, because it's MIDI, that means you can trigger literally anything on Ableton, for example. So I don't have to add that to the play button. I can add that to the next button, the stop button. If it can be highlighted in MIDI and put MIDI on it, then we can make that foot switch do whatever we want. And that's it. That's how we use a foot switch to both change the SPD-SX and use it with backing tracks in a really simple way, but hopefully now means that you can start making some really cool stuff out of it. So if you have any questions, please lob them in the comment section down below because I'd love to help out where I can. And apart from that, I hope you have a fantastic day.